Well, hi everybody. Thanks for joining me today for this talk. I'm really happy you're here. Means I'm not playing to an empty room like you often do in rock bands. I'm brand new to EXP. I recently switched over from the Century 21 Lanthorn in Prince Edward County. I sell real estate basically from the East Kawarthas all the way over to Perth. I also, along the 401 corridor, I do sort of Coburg all the way over to Brockville. I'm used to all sorts of driving. We all do a lot of driving, but my driving might trump your driving with the amount of driving I've done in rock bands. So I'm really happy to at least keep myself within a 2-hour radius like that. So this is my first time doing anything like this. I hope I don't mess it up, but we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to share my story. I think it's a fun one, and I hope it has some value to you today. So we're going to get started with a video montage. So I'm going to just try to get this playing. If you have your sound on, there's some music. So here we go.
They're not only good, they're good for you. Everybody toss it up for the salads.
What's going on, Troy? How you guys feeling? Yeah!
Woo! Put your hands together, please. Welcome. I'm with Earth.
All right, great way to start a morning, right? With some rock.
Woo!
Any of
That
that?
was awesome.
Thank you. I'm wondering if
They're
any
not
of
only
that,
good.
hold on, if any of that looks familiar to any of you or sounds familiar. I don't know if you've ever heard or seen any of the bands before. That's okay if you haven't. You're going to learn about them in about the next 20 minutes or so. They're all bands that I either started, built from the ground up, was hired to be a part of, I toured with, produced albums with. The video included bands The Salads and I Mother Earth. I've also played in the band Billy Talent. I made records and toured with E1 US band The Standstills. I've played shows in David Usher's band of Moist. If you're a little bit older, you might know this guy. I've toured Canada for 10 years with Canadian blues legend David Wilcox as well. So basically what you watched in that 90-second clip is all my childhood dreams coming true. And over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through how I did it and highlight how the keys to my success as a musician unlocked the door to my real estate career. And there I am walking through the door. It's one of my first awards. I was pretty excited about that. But before I move into these three keys, I wanted to share with you guys a parallel I saw right away when I was deciding to do this job, between both career paths, between being a rock star, wanting to be a rock star, and wanting to be a realtor. What are the chances of becoming a successful touring stadium platinum selling rock star? I Googled it. I found some varying stats. None of them seem to be really driven by hard data, but the consensus that I found was it seems to be around 1 in a million, or a 0.0001% chance of finding rock stardom. If you wait till you're over 25, it cuts in half. It diminishes quite a bit. So I'm just going to call it a 99.9% failure rate choosing to do that career. Real estate, on the other hand, had some really, really solid stats for this. And I think a lot of you guys are aware of these stats. We've heard them all before. I'm going to remind you, there's a 75% chance as a new realtor that you're going to fail in your very first year. 75% of realtors leave the business in the very first year. I'm curious how many of you guys have been building your real estate career for over 5 years now. I know there's a bunch of you on this team. There's some new people, but I think there's a bunch of you that have done it over 5 years. And I just wanted to say congrats, guys, because you are a rock star. There's an 87% chance of failure rate within your first 5 years of real estate. So if you made it past 5 years, you're just about as crazy as someone choosing to become a rock star. It's about the same kind of choice. And so, like I mentioned before, I identified 3 key themes that led to sort of my success in this business, coming from my music stuff. And I hate to disappoint you guys, but they're not sex, drugs, and rock and roll. If you want that story, I highly recommend this awesome book by Motley Crue called The Dirt. But I'm going to tell you, I was never, ever one of these guys. That's me right there. That's me right there at 12 years old when I started my very first rock band. You can see us, visualizing behind us. We have all the Kiss posters. And that was me a couple of years ago in Halifax. The thing I think I really love about these pictures, my hair is exactly the same. I have the same look on my face. I think that's pretty awesome. So anyhow, there are 3 keys to your success, to my success here, and these are your 3 keys. I just need to switch a page down here below. These are to picture, to play, and to persevere. The 3 P's are my keys, and they can be your keys too. I've spent my entire life trying to come up with good hooks, being a musician. So I hope this one is a good hook. Tried to come up with something good for this. Picture, play, persevere. The 3 P's are your keys. So we're going to start with picture. Let me just switch over pages here. There we go. I got to switch up the page here. Picture also means to create your own reality. Ask and you will receive is something I live by. You might also call it having a vision. A lot of people call it manifesting. That's sort of this trendy thing. People are trying to figure that out. What you're looking at here on the screen is the 3rd release I put out with my childhood band, and we called it The Big Picture. We knew exactly what we were doing, because the very first thing a little kid who wants to grow up to be a rock star starts doing is they start imagining themselves doing it. And man, did we ever see it. I started my first rock band in grade 7 with a couple classmates, and we spent every single weekend playing together, taking the bus home on weekends and just spending all weekend together, envisioning our future and talking about what we were going to do. When we weren't playing, we'd sit around the kitchen table and literally draw pictures of ourselves, and pass the page around and insert pyro and really big stages, more lights and things like that. So check this out, because things like this for us were really, really, really significant when we got to see them on TV, because it's exactly what we drew. The pyro is coming up in a second. It's what we pictured. It's all we talked about. By the way, we spent our entire pay on the pyro at this show. But it was worth it because it was our dream. Another example of this I really love that's really similar is I used to draw myself with what I would picture as my amps behind me on stage. And I did this all growing up. My brothers used to make fun of me and they called it the Big Amp Company. So check this picture out. So this is me in about 2012. I'm in Vancouver getting set up, getting ready to play a show. We were playing with Alice in Chains that day. And that's my Big Amp Company. It finally came true. I have an endorsement with this amazing Canadian company. And I asked them, can I have all of this stuff? And they showed up and set it up behind me. And I had to get this this picture of myself on Canada Day, because picturing works. This is living proof of it. If you can see it, you can be it. This is your proof. It happened to me over and over again throughout my entire career. It's happened to me throughout my real estate career so far. It happened to me with my life choices. You just got to see it. And I've got a lot of examples of this. I'm going to share a couple others. My favorite bands growing up were Van Halen, Kiss, and Fishbone. I Mother Earth ended up 1 degree away from Van Halen because we had Eddie Van Halen's guitar tech on tour with us. Eddie gifted our guitar player a guitar. Kiss is one of our huge favorite bands. You saw hanging on posters behind us. 2 of the guys in that poster ended up going on tour with Kiss because some of our students got a gig opening up for Kiss across North America. And then Fishbone, we used to hang out outside of concerts as little kids, waiting for Fishbone to come out so we could get autographs. We always were dreaming about playing with them and being able to write music with them one day. We thought they were the greatest band in the world. One day while I was in Cleveland on a tour called the Warped Tour, I was walking around the park and I ran into Angelo, the singer of Fishbone. And we were playing on a smaller stage that day. But I thought, hey, asking you will receive. I've been wanting to do this my whole life. And so I asked Angelo that day, will you come and play with us today? Maybe just do a song or something like that. And when we were on stage that day, Angelo came, that's him right there with his kilt and his top hat and his combat boots. He came walking across the field that day as we were on stage, and pretty much the entire park, you can't see the crowd here, but it was massive. The entire park came to see this go down. This was us living a dream. When we got off the stage, each one of us went to a separate place, and when we reconnected, we had all been crying somewhere. Eventually we went on tour with Fishbone across Canada a couple times, and Angelo ended up playing on one of our records, and you can get that online. It's a record called Music Every Day. And this is envisioning. I need to switch a page here. So this kept happening throughout my whole life. One of the big ones that I've sort of touched on a little bit here, something that was really cool in my career that happened, was joining the band I Mother Earth. I'll tell you a little bit about these guys. Fans call them IME. I think they're legends in the Canadian music industry. I Mother Earth received the largest record contract in Canadian history in the 90s. They were advanced $1 million, which was unheard of at the time. They were asked to open up for Rush. Rush never has an opener, and Rush had I Mother Earth open up for them at the Gardens. And then later, I Mother Earth won a Juno for Best Hard Rock Album, and they beat out Rush. I went to see I Mother Earth at a sold-out Sound Academy show in Toronto in about 2012. While I was watching the band, I turned to my wife and I said, if Bruce, and that was the bass player in the band, and by the way, he's a real estate agent now, if Bruce ever can't play a show for some reason, and he couldn't play a show because he had so many deals going on, I was certain they were going to call me. I told her this. They're going to call me, and they better call me because they don't have a better choice. I'm the best guy for this band. They're going to call me one day because I know Bruce is busy. I know what he's doing now. And no exaggeration, about 1 week later after this, I was out walking my dog and my phone rang, and it was Christian, the guy in the DC shirt there with the big smile on his face. Hi, this is Christian from I Mother Earth. I'm hoping you might be available. So my first show with I Mother Earth was in front of about 10,000 people. We were playing alongside Slash from Guns N' Roses. Then I spent the next 10 years with these guys, developing lifelong friendships, touring the stadiums and festivals. It was incredible. I'm going to share another thing about picturing, about envisioning, that happened really recently. And it's sort of taught me that no matter, hold on to that dream, hold on to it for a really long time. I've made records for about 30 years, and no matter which producer I hired, even when they were Grammy award-winning producers that knew what they were doing. I was bringing in records by a producer named Howard Benson. And that's Howard there, giving the horns. These are all records that he's produced. He's really, really prolific. He has more top 10 hits on Billboard for hard rock genre than any other producer in the world, in history, really. And very recently, I got to make a record with Howard, finally. So here I am. This is me at almost 50 years old, after 30 years of dreaming this. This was a video that I shot with the band The Standstills that Howard produced. I'm almost 50 years out, still in rock videos, still banging my head, still living out my dreams. Couldn't believe it. I was making a record with Howard and Neil Sanderson. So your real estate career, I say, is really no different. You picture what you want to do. I know Jennifer talks about this a lot, and she's absolutely right. You stay focused on that picture and you just sort of climb that mountain towards it, and it's gonna come towards you. I've just got to switch page down here. So when I started in real estate, I was immediately dreaming about selling beautiful waterfront properties. I started in Prince Edward County. I've expanded my geography zone. And so the thing that eventually pulled me off tour was when I finally had the opportunity to live out that part of my real estate dream. When a listing came along for me that was just an unbelievably beautiful waterfront in Prince Edward County, and my favorite part of the county, Big Island. If you ever want to learn about the county, I'll show you. And this is a really exclusive part of the county that people don't know, but I had a chance to sell this. So I either had the choice of going on tour across the US and then Canada stadiums with 3 Days Grace. And then I was supposed to go to Europe to tour with the Eagles of Death Metal, which is guys from Queens of the Stone Age and Foo Fighters and stuff like that. Or I could take this waterfront listing and work at selling this waterfront listing. And it might seem crazy to you, but I had done that 30 years of my dream, and I had this new dream that I had, and this was it. And so I chose to go for it in real estate. And here I am. And I've still trying to sort of find my niche. I'm selling a lot of waterfronts. I still am doing this. I have some great listings coming up in the spring. I'm hoping to really corner that market out here. I've started partnering with agents that are famous for it out in this area, and I'm learning a lot. And I'm still trying to sort of find visions now. I've been saying some bold stuff lately. I said this one to Jennifer and Keith over lunch recently. I'm going to sell enough real estate to buy myself a Lotus Esprit. And this one specifically that James Bond drove. And that's because I sell rural real estate, right? And we all drive in the snow where we are. And look, if James Bond can do it, I can do it too. I can drive this car in the snow. I'm going to make it happen, and I can't wait. I'll give you a ride if you want. We'll collaborate on something. So let's move on to key number 2 here. So that first one is picture. Number 2 was playing. And this is my absolute favorite one. It's something I think adults really, really need to hear, is to play, because playing is so important. It's something that so many adults lose sight of. And they start plugging through life in a super, super serious manner. Adults sometimes forget to play. And I would argue there's more value in play than anything. And you can see it. You can see it in rock music. You can see it in rock musicians. Like, look at these guys. Let me just pull up this slide. I love this. There's Sammy Hagar. There's Mick Jagger. Sammy Hagar is 77 years old here. He's on tour across the world right now, playing Van Halen songs, doing a tribute to his dear friend Eddie Van Halen. And there's Mick Jagger. He's 81. He's still dancing across stages all across the world. And I know why. I know why they still look like this, why they're still able to do this. I was doing it too. I was dancing, I was playing. These guys are playing. They never, ever lost sight of playing. And sure, becoming a really great realtor takes a lot of work, takes a lot of practice. I noticed this meeting was called script practice. Why not call it playing? I taught hundreds and thousands, maybe thousands of guitar students. I had a lot of students that became big rock stars too. And I never ever asked any of them to go home and practice. I always told them, go home and play. Just go home and play. It's gonna get you there. My band, The Salads, that I was talking about, we built our entire career on the premise that playing is everything. We build ourselves as the party music experts. We were known as the band that always smiled. If you ever saw us live, I guarantee you were dancing, you were smiling. If you went to a Leafs game or practice in the early 2000s, you would have heard our song Get Loose. They used to blast it out of the sound system. CDC would play it throughout the event. And it was there to inspire the crowd and the players as they played, right? And so everybody was just playing. So have you guys ever given any thought? I was talking to Sarah about this before we came on. Have you guys ever given any thought to what game you're actually playing in real estate? Because we're playing a game. We're playing a super fun game. It's one of my favorite games. I remind clients about this game all the time, especially if they start feeling overwhelmed or stressed. I did it just the other day where I'm selling real estate. There's a lot of driving to do. And so when you choose to see 5 properties, it's going to take you all day long. It can get pretty stressful and pretty overwhelming. I reminded my clients of this game that real estate is. And here it is. We're playing a game of fork, guys. I remind clients all the time. You know, I see that stress and I'll say, hey, you realize what we're doing, right? We're just adult children playing a really fun game of fork. You know, there's taxes, there's mortgages, there's inflation. But I say that's more reason to focus on your play. And I love playing for it. I know Sarah loves playing for it. She said it before I said anything, but she saw the picture and she said, I love a good game of for it. So I say, give this a try. And I think I may have been inspired by this from Jake Jordan, who I asked to, he gave me a referral out in Belleville, and I just asked him to partner with me on it so we could play together on it. And we got a really low offer on the house together. And now I do this whenever I'm sending a low offer. Jake taught me this one and he learned it from Jennifer. And I encourage you to try this. If you haven't learned this one yet, this one's really good too. When you send in a low offer to someone, here you are, here's your offer. You're playing a game of hot potato. And so I always remind, I'll say this when I send in my low offer. I'll put it in an email, I'll say it in a phone call. I'm going to send you a really low offer. Because the fear of this, and you hear it all the time, is that someone's going to get their back up, or the seller is going to be offended, or I hear it all the time. What if they get pissed off? This is how you diffuse the situation, is you turn it into playfulness. You make it a game. And so I say, here's your offer. It's pretty low. Let's play a game of hot potato. And immediately it diffuses the situation. And I'll encourage them to tell their clients, if I don't have a chance to present the offer to the sellers, I'll encourage the other realtor to present it as a hot potato and tell them to throw it back. And they always do. I've never had a low offer just be rejected. I've always had them throw back the hot potato. Sometimes it takes a couple days to get there, but the hot potato eventually cools down. Someone eventually decides to eat it. And everybody wins, and they all had a lot of fun doing it. I love these games, guys. And the other thing I love that I mentioned, of course, is teamwork. You know, I didn't need, Jake was actually pretty hesitant about joining me on the Belleville listing because of his location, but I insisted. And it's because I love teamwork. It's the essential thing that makes a rock band work. That black and white picture in the center is I Mother Earth. That's all of us putting our hands together like a team. We do it like a football team. We give ourselves some sort of encouraging words and then jump onto stage as the team that we were. So it includes collaboration and teamwork, is all your playfulness. It's so essential. I'm finding it in real estate now. It's part of why I switched over to EXP. is going to all your conferences and meeting the people there. I was finding really enlightened, playful, fun people that I felt like I wanted to join band, that I wanted to band up with, that I wanted to play with. So I encourage you to give me a try, because I'm still trying to find my band. So if you feel like collaborating on something, or if you have a referral, even if it's a listing out here, I'd love to partner up with you. You can learn about my area. Maybe I'm going to learn a new game of hot potato like Jake taught me. I love it so much. So a quick recap of what we talked about. Picture what you want, and then try to find a fun way to achieve it through playfulness, which is going to bring us to the third key to unlock your success. And I don't know if you remember the third key, but it was perseverance. Playing. Yeah, I looked up definitions for perseverance, and that's it on the screen there. This one really, really resonated with me. I'll just read it out loud. Trusting in your abilities and trusting you will find a way through. This one resonates with me so hard, because playing in a progressive rock band like I'm Mother Earth is not an easy gig. It's super, super complex music. It's progressive music. The songs are like 15 minutes long sometimes. Sometimes the band plays 4-hour-long shows. You don't have any notes up there. You just have to remember it all. And the scariest part of all of it, for me, is that top corner picture is always walking out on the stage. That always freaked me out so much. It would make my head spin. I would think, I'm not going to remember how do I remember 4 hours of music? I'm going to disappoint these 6 guys on stage. It's all going to fall apart. This whole crowd, I'm going to be humiliated in front of thousands of people. So I started telling myself out loud. I started practicing this thing as I was stepping out on the stage, where I would tell myself, you can do this, man. You're going to kick ass. It's going to be awesome today. I would look out at the crowd. I would smile. I would throw them one of these, plug my guitar in. 4 hours later, we'd all be backstage, toweling off, chugging Gatorade, celebrating the accomplishment of what we did, having a good laugh about the mistakes we made, thinking about how we do it better the next day. But it was all playfulness, and we persevered and we got through it. Always fun. So playing in bands there's this parallel with real estate, right? I already talked about this one. We're all driving all the time. We're always in a car. It also includes playing to empty rooms, giving it all, regardless of that. It's how hard you have to work to get heard and promote yourself. I put posters up all over the country, flyers. I used to walk around in the middle of the night with a staple gun in the winter time. Even at big levels, we would cram into the van. I love that picture of Brian sitting there facing us in the van. We were on our way up to Fort McMurray. Sometimes you rent a van, you cram into a van, but you persevere, you get through it. People do show up. I did everything. We used to take turns calling radio stations, requesting our own songs. I worked for the really big band, Good Charlotte, at the height of their career, this band from Hollywood, and they were doing a video shoot in Toronto that I was working at with them, and they were all taking turns. They were sitting in a circle on break, and I was sitting with them. And they were all taking turns calling record stores and seeing if their stuff was in stock in Toronto. And when something wasn't in stock, they would make an order to make sure that their albums were in the store. They were persevering. I would drive 1,000 kilometers or more for $500. There was always a tremendous amount of uncertainty in music. This isn't much different than real estate, right? I think everybody can agree that it's a roller coaster situation. It's what we call sink or swim. Music is the same way. You have to persevere. I think you probably all do, but if you don't, do the same thing I do to an empty room or a stadium. Bring the exact same energy and attention to every show, no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's a $2,000 lease or if you're doing a $4 million waterfront estate sale, do the exact same thing. I've been doing real estate for only a few years now, but it's bearing fruit the same way that it did for me in music. I have a lot of repeat clients. I have a lot of referrals coming from these clients. The roller coaster is showing me that if I persevere and just do work hard and continue to do what I do, no matter what it is, it's gonna grow. I say you've all choice in a career path that takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of determination, hard work, self-promotion, all these same things that it took me to do all of my rock star dreams. All these things, right? Take a step, even just a small one, be patient, give things time, trust yourself, stay focused, accept disappointment when it happens. It happens. You just have to move on. I never let people know on stage when I make a mistake. You just move on, you power through, you don't throw in the towel, you finish what you started despite that obstacle. Always do what other people are unwilling to do. A simple thing in real estate I hear all the time, that people don't want to post a lot of social media. Well, I'll talk about myself over and 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 over again on social media because I'm used to having to do that in music, and it works. It's where most of my leads are coming from, is just getting on to social media. Your perseverance is going to be fueled by the amount of passion you put into it. So get out onto that stage. And there you have it. Let's just recap there. So picture, play, persevere. Those are your 3 keys. I hope you all leave this meeting today and really rock your day. Thank you for joining me. If you do want to collaborate, I would love that. I want to start a band with you. So thanks a lot, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chuck.
It was so good. Thank you.
That's
My
awesome.
pleasure.
Actually,
I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions. I kind of put on a show. I don't know if it has any questions, but let me know.
When are you going to come to one of our meetings and perform for us?
I just did.
Oh, like, I mean, really rock out front for us. Man.
Well, we'll see. Well, I was telling Jennifer about this actually. I play in a sometimes I play in this band that's called Rockstar Live. That's all guys from big rock bands. It's a super fun thing I do, and we do a lot of corporate gigs. It's the guitar player from the band Killer Dwarfs, like this 80s hair metal band. And he also plays with Burton Cummings. It's the drummer from the band Moist that plays in the band. Sometimes we have the guys from Big Wreck in the band. But it's a karaoke band, and we've got 400 songs that we do. And we do corporate events where we do team building with people. And we'll do it to like a full theater full of people. We did one for Nestle recently, and we get people to write songs with us and write together, and then they have to perform with us. But we also will do just a karaoke night with corporations and groups. And I think it would be super fun with real estate, because you get up and you get a chance to sing with a rock band and sort of face your fears, and we support you. We'll show you what it's like to play in a team. And then the fun thing at the end of that show that we do as well is that we bring everybody up on the stage. So we try to clear out the whole room and have the stage just full of everybody. Because like I said before, you don't know what it's like to play in a rock band until you perform to an empty room. And so, yeah, I'd be happy to bring that band to an event if you ever want us. So